Everyone has felt like they get that old stab in the back. For all kind of reasons. Treachery exists in life. Sometimes we stabbing and sometimes we collecting stabs. Where's the poetry in Switch by Zerimar?
What make them switch? The amount of stabbing on my back when me get from them.
Switch by Zerimar is an authentic representation of a broken friendship where the persona expresses his hurt but also takes some levels of accountability for how he may have managed the situation. Now, a few weeks ago, I was critiquing what I consider to be a lack of authenticity in our broken relationship and a whole island jump on my case. But this is what it really means. You tend to trust a narrator's reliability more when the narrator gives you various perspectives. So let's find the evidence of those perspectives in the text. Now the chorus begins with the persona posing questions. What makes them switch? Switch, of course, being a term for betrayal. In other words, why is this person no longer on my side? Switch. The persona claims that they are stabbed in the back, a cliche, but then Zerimar as a writer immediately improves on the cliche by extending the metaphor with a clever line, and maybe my favorite line, no stitch can fix. It's not a normal stab, it's a stab that requires serious surgery. So remember, extending a metaphor is just prolonging the image of it, prolonging the vehicle. Remember the metaphor had two parts, tenant vehicle. You extend that vehicle with word choice. So the persona has been on a mission to build wealth for everyone. He wants everybody to be rich. And somehow the history between he and his former friend is now in the ditch. So let me pause right there for a second. The more I listen to this song, the more I appreciate it as a commentary on male friendships. We don't get much of that these days without violence or hate cemented into something dismissive. The persona here is not claiming to be enjoying life, but genuinely expressing hurt for the dismantling of that friendship. So we see in the main character, the friend, and outside influences who would have played a role in creating tension in the friendship. So you identify kind of three distinct groups of people. So he refers to the third group in a sort of derogatory way, to say the least, showing that those are the people that actually creating wedges. So he tried to figure out what happened. Into the first verse. He starts with hyperbole to really show his love for his friend. Give you my last breath if you need oxygen. Oh, that is touching. He elevates him above a regular friend or family member. But here is where Zerimar's writing stands out. Check these lines. Me say some things where me no mean. That are no reason for you left. How many times, folks, do we see someone taking accountability in the midst of their anger? He angry bad. He vex him and switch up on him. He feeling worse than stress, and yet he found it fit for him to allow the persona to own up to his part. That is real good writing. That is the kind of teaching that men will benefit from. We could all be about blessings and good spirits, but at the end of the day, we had to come down to the brass tacks. We just use stupidness. Anyway, the persona immediately falls back into raw emotions and he almost wants to dictate that the friend should get over it. Kind of manipulative, but we seeing where that raw passion coming from because he already kind of established his anger. So then there's this next part here with 8 to 10 masculine rhymes. Those are the one-syllable rhymes that translate the rapidness of thought. I think that's the purpose of him using those quick rhymes there. The persona, it come like he thinking in a blur. He quickly recalls trying to make everyone happy, and this thing did not work out as expected. It is also revealed that some of the things the persona said were for the betterment of the friend. So imagine I telling you something to make you better and you falling out with me. So this led to more frustration with the persona. And we see it in our next cliched line, me been in your shoe, to attempt to justify how he may have corrected or given advice to his friend. Now that argument, it could be a bit weak, but I'm glad it exists. It is weak because you being in the same position as someone don't necessarily give you the power to define how that person should exist or go about dealing with their problems. But I'm glad the argument exists because it contributes to the authenticity of this narrative, which I think, by the way, is the strongest trait of the song, just the realness, the rawness of the emotion. Let's dive down into verse 2. And that's where the persona kind of reach a climax of his emotions. and he starts to cast some blame on himself. It starts with the metaphor, we try play hero, followed by, can't take everybody everywhere that we go. And this seems to mean that in the personal success, he was trying to make sure that people around him live nice. But at some point he had to stop. Can't take everybody everywhere that you go in this life. And in him stopping it, he may have lost the trust of his best friend. So the kind of image I get is like this, right? So the poetic persona used to buy Jordans for all 5 brethren. When things was nice and things, as things go by, I realized I have other priorities. I started to buy 1 Jordans just for the best friend. And the best friend watch me and say, how you gonna start to do that? You're coasting on the others. That will hurt me because I done select you out. I done place you out to stand out and say, alright, this is the person I riding with. That is why he say you can't trust your day one. Then who you gonna trust? 0. So the numbers becomes a kind of metaphor for friends, right? With your day one being your closest friend. So day one metaphor for friend. That means 0 is now a metaphor for everyone else in the space who he cannot trust. He goes on to reiterate that the love he has for his friend is real by claiming that he'll kill for him. And he lands on the line, good friend come once in a life, not everybody have it. See no friend, war friend, and friendship end tragic. He doesn't want to go down that road. The persona wants to mend the relationship, and it will take more than stitches. It will take a full-fledged reconciliation. So the last thing I want to comment is on the 3rd verse, where he say, I fed up talk to you, this time I had to sing. In other words, I'm bringing it to the public because we have been about this privately and the hurt is overbearing. I had to talk about it. And of course, he's saying, stop vex with your brother for one little thing. Again, reiterating that this person has recognized that he has done wrong and is stretching out his hand to fix the friendship. And I rate that. The authenticity and poetic devices push this particular tune to 8.7 on the poetry scale. There's the poetry in Switch by Zerimar. Listen, all references we use and the lyrics to anything we use are right in the description below this video. Remember to like and subscribe if you appreciated the content, and if there's some text that you want us to analyze, just drop it in the comments below. We'll get to it and find out where's the poetry.